At Dot & Company, we believe that all agencies deserve amazing account managers and that all of those account managers deserve to be supported, encouraged, and loved on. That's why we started CAM Community, a membership only for account managers. And inside, you'll gain access to the exact training we use to train our own client facing account managers, but also access to all of our SOPs, processes, and live trainings on a variety of topics. If you're an account manager, this is the place you've been waiting for. Learn more at dotandcompany.co/CAM community.
The role of the agency leader isn't to create happy clients. It's to create teams and systems that create happy clients.
Welcome to the Happy Clients Podcast, brought to you by Dot & Company. Whether you're a virtual assistant, an agency owner, or a client-facing account manager, we all deal with clients. Lucky for you, client management is what we do best. Now, let's dig in, chat cam life, and have some fun along the way. Cheers to happy clients.
Welcome to the Happy Clients Podcast, Tim. So excited to have you here.
I'm really excited to be here too. And one of the things that I promise my agency clients is that they're going to make more revenue, more profit, and more happy.
More happy. I love it.
Because there's so many agency owners in the world that unfortunately have just created a job for themselves. And it's not just a job with one boss, but you have like 40 bosses and they're all unhappy all the time. And it can be really miserable.
Totally.
And so a big part of the work that we do is to help them structure the value proposition, the thing that they're selling, so that it matches up with the thing that they're delivering, and creating ways to get feedback from the team and from the client so that you're doing the right thing. And that's a key to making yourself not miserable. It's really focusing on making sure that the thing you're selling and the thing you're delivering and the experience that the client's having all match up.
Totally.
Someone said that this is my mic drop quote. The role of the agency leader isn't to create happy clients. It's to create teams and systems that create happy clients.
Love that.
Yeah.
That is so key. And so before we jumped on to record this podcast, we were kind of talking about why agencies come to us. And a lot of people think they have an account management problem, or maybe they have a lead flow problem, or maybe they have a employee problem.
Yeah.
And you kind of said to me, well, it's not necessarily those individualized things. There's a lot going on behind the scenes that is getting in their way. So walk us through that.
Yeah. And so you might actually have all of those problems, right? You might have employee problems and account management deficits and all that sort of stuff. But it really starts with you, the CEO. Like, that's the source of all the problems, sadly. And largely it comes down to the fact that you have not created clear enough expectations for the team, not articulated your vision or your emotional feeling of how a client should be treated. And you have decided that the secret to agency success is through SOPs and managing and yelling at people and all that sort of stuff. And what it really comes down to is being able to say, okay, listen, this is how we deliver value through ads or whatever it is. This is how we treat people, both internally and externally. And then this is the data that we use to make decisions around how we help people and how we treat people. And it really is that simple, because everything, in order for an agency to work, like, everything's got to kind of be pointing in the same direction.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're getting clients that churn really fast, it might be a service problem, but it's more likely a sales problem. You're selling to the wrong person, and so you can't help them.
Right.
Or your sales process gives them unrealistic expectations, and so they churn. And you, as the CEO, gets angry because the account manager has really high churn. Well, no, ding dong. Well, it's not the account manager's fault. You gave them the wrong thing to work on.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really an exercise in understanding what you deliver and how that matches up with the client need.
And
Because
so most agencies listening are going to say like, okay, I get it, but that sounds like a lot of things that I need to figure out. There's a lot of
yeah,
stones I need to turn over. So what is it that you're doing with agencies that make it different or more approachable or easier to do?
yeah. So number one, it really starts with this idea of return on understanding. ROU. It's not ROI or ROAS, it's ROU. So in order to effectively serve a client, you have to understand them. And I would say that the vast majority of agency owners, especially if you are in the early stages of agency ownership, you don't understand how your clients make money. And so you talk about stuff that might be super meaningful to you, but has no direct corollary into the lives, the profit, the efficacy of your client. You might be super excited about click-through rate or, a platform-derived return on ad spend or whatever. But if you don't understand who your client is trying to attract, what they try to get that customer to do, and how they make money from that customer, you cannot effectively create a marketing strategy or even a marketing campaign that serves them. And so the first thing that we start with is by thinking, okay, what do you as a business owner understand about other businesses? And so you can't serve everybody. And if you're just like a solo 1, 2, 3, 5-person shop, like you're not going to be able to help, I don't know, whatever, Obvi or Allbirds, or like, that's dumb. It doesn't, like, you're not going to be able to help those people. So you're going to have to help people who are kind of in your league at the beginning. And so if you don't know anything about those businesses, because I know that there's bunches of agency owners who are like, yeah, we work with HVAC companies. Cool. Do you know anything about HVAC? Like, do you know what their profit margins are? Do you know how their operations work? No. Like, all I know is I hit the button on Google and they get leads, right? But without understanding the entirety of their business, you cannot effectively market their business, and that's your job.
That's literally gold.
Yes, so we start there, and then once we understand the client, we get the leader to articulate, okay, this is how I want to treat our clients. This is the experience I want them to have. It's how I want them to feel, is how I want them to think about us. And then you do the same with your employees, the people that are on your staff. Like, this is how I want them to feel. This is how I want them to react. And once you understand those two key things, how you want them to feel and how you want them to react, it's way easier to build systems that serve that purpose, rather than saying, oh, I got this SOP from whatever sops.com and it says it works, or I bought this agency system and it says you do these things, and that's all crap.
Yep.
What you need to do is understand you have to grow as a human being in order to lead an organization. There's and owning an agency is not about marketing skill. It is not about tactical prowess. It's really about understanding what the client needs and giving it to them.
You're right. And understanding what their pain points are.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
you could, like you said, you could go into any business and say like, I can get you leads, no problem for sure. But then 2 months down the road, they're going to say this isn't working because you don't understand what they actually need. And maybe it's not leads, or maybe something's broken, or
Yeah,
what are they really working towards?
Right. For most early stage agency owners, they don't treat discovery well enough. They think that, the discovery call with the client, they think it's their opportunity to close, in the fast, they get excited, like, oh, I did a 1-call close or whatever. It is almost like those magical 1-call close people, for the most part, like, they're going to churn really fast because they said yes quickly because they're desperate. And agencies are really bad at helping desperate people. And agencies are like, and this is another huge issue, agencies believe that they can take businesses from 0 to 1. They can't. It's just not possible. You can take them from 1 to 10, but 0 to 1, that company's deal. Like, you cannot help businesses that don't already work?
I feel like our world of agency life is all SOP this, process that. All you have to do is have a process for everything and it's just going to work and you're going to have this amazing agency. But I think what we've realized over the last couple of years is that there's a lot of these soft skills that people need coaching on, and especially the account management role, right?
Yeah,
Agencies
totally.
come to us because they don't know how to train people on soft skills and the emotional side of things, which I feel like you and I are definitely aligned on this emotional side of running a business.
Because when a client's really angry, like you have to understand why, and you have to figure out how you can fix it if you can fix it.
Mm-hmm. Or how to avoid it in the future, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. So for agency owners listening who are like, I feel like I'm in a blender. This whole business feels like it's just chopped together and I don't have, these fundamental pieces in place. Where do you start? Like, how do you work with agencies? How does this?
So it depends. If you're in one of my group programs, because the early stage founder is so busy, we do this thing called 5-Minute Fridays. So on Fridays, they put down, it's supposed to take about 5 minutes. They put down what they worked on last week and what they're going to work, or the week that they're currently in, and what they're going to work on next week. They send it to me. On Mondays, I give them replies saying, hey, this is good, that's bad. Don't do this, do that. And I also track how accurate they are about what I'm going to work on next week versus what they do, in fact, work on next week. And very rarely are those, there's a practically zero overlap. So throughout the process, what we do, and we do this a lot in our office hours, is we really focus on helping them think ahead and realize that you're solving two problems all the time. You're solving the immediate problem and you're solving the strategic problem. And so when things aren't working, it's not because your process is broken. That might be part of it. It's mostly because your vision is broken and you don't have the right vision for that part of your business.
Oof. I'm sure a lot of people listening are like, yeah, that's me.
Yeah. And then if you're in one of my one-on-one programs, it's much more about helping the CEO let go, because there's this phase when you're a CEO, especially when you're at a transition point, whatever, you're at a point where your head is so full you cannot think about anything else, but you're so anxious that somebody is going to screw something up that you are micromanaging everybody in the middle of everything and not hiring good people, because you're hiring people do what you say, not do what you want. And so I help agency owners step back and realize that the job that they actually signed up for when they assigned themselves the CEO title is running the organization. Right? They don't do the marketing for the clients. They don't retain the clients. They don't keep the books. They find the resources and help the team create processes to get that stuff done. And so they serve the team and the team serves the client.
Right. And get out of the way.
And
Right?
mostly and if you're doing it right, at some point you're like, oh my God, what do I do now?
Right.
And that's awesome, by the way. Like, one of the things that I have my agency owners go through is we break down their business and we talk about it and we say, okay, are you mandatory in this part of the business? Are you needed? Are you optional? Or are you out of it? And so many agency owners are needed in every part of their business. And so that just means that they're the chief doing officer, not the chief executive officer.
And for all these agency owners who, like you're saying, are involved in every piece of their business, and then they're transitioning to this point where they're removed from majority, do you think it's mainly mindset, or is it a combination of mindset and having the right people, or
So
how much is it the mindset?
So it doesn't happen without the mindset, right? So really it comes down to vision. Like, okay, I have to re-envision what my job is because our client base is too big for me to serve everyone myself.
Right.
So then you're like, okay, many agencies, like I was an accidental agency owner. I didn't start at one on purpose. I started one because I needed a job. But you start out as a freelancer. And then your next evolution is you're like a freelancer with helpers, like a super freelancers, right? And that's where most people stop.
Mm,
And those are the businesses that are doing, 200 to 600,000 bucks a year. Like it's a good business, but like if you take a vacation, the business stops. Like it doesn't
right.
without you. And then somewhere around, the $1 million mark, you're like, oh, wait a minute. So like this guy that I just hired is way better at Facebook ads than I am. And for lots of agency owners, that creates some sort of crisis of, that's some like identity crisis. But you have to realize like, oh, wait a minute. I am not the ad guy. I'm the run the agency guy or girl or person. And so you have to really always reflect on where your identity is versus what the organization needs you to be.
Mm. And so for agency owners who are going to that point, they're like, I want to be the real CEO.
Yeah.
What are the most important roles within the agency that they need to be able to get to that point?
So number one, they absolutely need good account management. And that is frankly that's often the place that the founder CEO person is least that's the one that they hold on to tightly because they think that is where like they're serving the clients and that's their responsibility. Actually, as the CEO, that's all you're doing is revenue preservation, right? Like you already sold that business, and the account management role serves, it makes good on the promise that you sold. Your job as CEO is to think like, are we doing that well enough? And so account management is crucial. The other one, it really varies by person. But the other one is you have got to learn how to manage human beings. And if you're an entrepreneur, your brain is just broken. Like it works differently than other people's.
Yeah.
Like really, there's a super high correlation between entrepreneurship and ADHD. That's me. So there's stuff that as a agency founder, like you can just see, think, and do that other people can't. And
then it gets frustrating.
Right. So it is frustrating. But if you think like, oh, wait a minute, my job is not to do that revenue preservation or that data analysis. My job is to create a system and hire people who love that system so that we can create value for our clients and get them to spend more money or stay with us longer. Like that's your job as the CEO. So you have to realize that the art of letting go isn't about abdication. It's about building a system that doesn't demand your attention. Now, it demands somebody else's attention, but not yours.
Mm-hmm. That's such a good reminder.
Yeah.
And full circle moment, of course.
Yeah, because like I do that with myself all the time.
Yeah, me too.
I was writing a landing page the other day for something we got coming up, and I realized like, wait, what? Like, why am I doing that?
Mm-hmm.
That is that is a pretty low value way to use my time because quite honestly, the landing page is going to change like 43 times before it becomes really effective. So why am I investing so much time in trying to make it perfect?
That's
when
right.
I could just tell someone, okay, here's what's on the landing page, and you, writer person, does not have ADHD, so you're going to be able to do this job without like having it take all day because you keep on moving around to other stuff.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we all need that reminder every day, just like what you're doing in your 5-minute Fridays, right? So for agency owners listening who are overwhelmed with this bucket list of things that we've just thrown at them, how can they get help from you and your team?
Yeah. So the first place, you just go to timkilroy.com, like really beautifully named. Took me a long time to come up with that name. Went through a lot of iterations. That's the best place. I'm also super available on LinkedIn. Over here somewhere? No, they're over there. I can't
Other
remember.
side.
All right. So that Agency Inner Circle, that's a free community that is launching in April of 2024. And so you'll be able to,
Ooh.
and so you'll be able to go to Agency Inner Circle.
Give us a sneak peek.
Yeah.
into what
So
that-
essentially, you're going to have to prove that you're an agency owner. And then you can come into the group, and I have pulled in some other folks who, some are coaches, some are other agency owners, some are subject matter experts, and it's just going to be a free place for you to ask questions, and like figure out, like what you need to learn. And as a matter of fact, I'd like to invite somebody from your team to
Totally.
hang out there too,
I
because
love
like,
that.
yeah.
Amazing. Well, everyone go check out Tim and all of his different options of working with him. I think if you're listening to this podcast, you know you want to take your agency to the next level and most likely want to remove yourself from doing all of the things. So if this resonated, definitely reach out and get some help because
one
it's
thing,
worth it.
like if you're feeling like it's really hard to do this stuff, that's because it is. Like, do not believe anybody who says it's easy or that a singular system will fix everything for you. It's really freaking hard.
If
So
it was
give
easy,
yourself-
everyone would do it.
Give yourself a break and realize that this is hard. You are trying to create order out of chaos, and you're trying to consistently prove your value to your clients and to your employees. And it's really hard, and you probably need some help, because goodness knows my agencies would have been much more successful if I had known to hire someone like me.
Thank you so much, Tim, for coming on the podcast. And everybody, can't wait to see all the success that you have after working with him.
Thank you.
Cheers to happy clients.